I'm going to show you MI from three perspectives. The first one is a delivery overview. So that's a view across the business, how things are working at this point in time. So if you look at this, for example, this is saying 1,685 days worth of work is currently being done, out of which 570 are currently overdue, and this might be across the both human and the digital workforce. Down below here are various volumetric information. So this is volumes per geography, per customer. It can be volumes per process or any kind of cross section which you really want to have a look at it in. Below that, so this is a video, I'm just going to let it catch up. Below that are comms information. So outbound mails, inbound mails, phone calls, what are the various loads like throughout different days. Below that is benchmark times. So this is how much time you think it should take a piece of work versus how much time it actually is taking to do each of those types of activities. Below that is heat maps. So these are busy hours of the day and busy days of different months. And below that is capacity. But we look at that in the next report. So this is one view of sort of a holistic health check across the business, and you might want to see things like SLAs, what is your timeliness as per different customers or regions, or how are your various teams doing, so on and so forth. And all of these graphs and reports are drilled down, so you can click on something and get right down to the very specific individual team, process, so on and so forth. If I move a little bit forward now, this is information about productivity and utilization. This is a team owner who's looking at a bot team. Now Enate as a product has been designed for the business community, not for the technical community, and all the reports and MI and all are geared towards making it easy for business users to take decisions and understand how things are happening. So this team leader is looking at a bot team of 3. If I scroll to the right, now this is a grid-based report. So there are 2 axes, one is productivity and the other one is capacity. And each of the dots on screen represents a specific bot. Now what you want to see is all of your bot resources on the right top, and even human resources. There's an equivalent report exactly like this for humans as well. But what you want to see is all your resources on the right top, which basically means that they are highly productive, meaning doing things as per efficiency benchmarks. And so if something needs to be done if a bot needs to finish something in 10 seconds, it's actually taking only 10 seconds, and a human maybe 3 minutes, they're doing it in 3 minutes. And capacity is that they're working as per their schedule. So let's say a bot is programmed to work for or scheduled to work for 18 hours a day. It is being utilized for most of that, or a human is supposed to work for, let's say, 7.5 hours a day, and they are putting in, they're logging that kind of effort in which case you see everything on the right top here. If you have any blobs on the left top, that basically means that bots are running efficiently, they're just not utilized enough, or humans are doing things fast, but they can handle more work. On the right bottom is the converse of that bots are maybe taking a long duration of time. Maybe the routines are not good, maybe underlying systems are slow, maybe something else is not right, or on the case of people, maybe there are training needs, and then so they're working long hours but just not getting much done. If anything is on the left bottom, a human or a bot, then that is a question which you need to kind of ask whether that resource is really adding value to the business or not, because they're neither working sufficient hours not doing sufficient things. This is the last report which we're going to go through. So this is how capacity is spent. So if I look at the right top here, there's a donut here which is talking about different types of skills. So let me just go and explain first how that information is gathered. So every time you're setting up an orchestration like this or a process definition like this, and when you put in human activities there, you can also give it 2 additional parameters. One is define which type of skill it is. For example, in this customer validation skill, a human user got a few instructions saying that go and check the signature on another system, check the maturity conditions of the loan, so on and so forth. So those are simple business rules based activity where somebody goes to another system, checks something and comes back and validates that it's correct. Versus a task like Moira, where Moira had to read an email and make a decision based on her cognitive skills about what the content of that email was and what she should have done with it. So you can always, so you have to, so essentially you tag with each kind of activity what is the kind of skill which is being used, whether it's a cognitive skill, rules-based skill, some other kind of skill, and also what is the amount of cost you incur every time you do that kind of activity. For example, if a human does an activity who's, let's say, a standard FT, that might be costing you X amount of money, and as you build this and as you run different processes through the platform, then you get a real-time model of where's the maximum amount of cost being incurred. So if I go back now to the report, what this donut is telling me is that 475 units of basic rules-based work is happening right now, which if I deploy an RPA bot, I will be able to take out a percentage of something like this. The read and comprehend is what Moira was doing. So 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, if a good NLP bot makes it to market, then Moira can work on, then that bot can be plugged and played on top of Enate, and only when that bot is not able to assess what is the type of work, then Moira needs to be brought in, and the work will get shifted onto Moira to make a decision on what it is when the bot is not able to do it. So like that, various types of skills, and you start getting an understanding of which are the types of different automations that you might want to adopt over time. On the left bottom here are various types of activities, for example, invoice processing, direct debit postings, things like that, and a cost of how much it's costing you to do it. In this example is £77,000. So for all these activities, it's costing you that much money. So if you wanted to make a decision around extending your bot workforce, and let's say investing in another 2 bots which cost you, let's say 10, 15, 20,000, then you still have a good business case, because you still save 30, 40, 50,000, and then businesses can start working down this list. On the right side here is what we call variance and complexity. What this is saying is that some businesses might say that, okay, input manual invoice, quality check invoice is 140 units of work, so we should automate this. But on the right side is the standard deviation, which is 1.5, which basically means that it is taking too much of deviation is there every time it's done in the human world. Maybe sometimes users are doing it in a minute, sometimes they might be taking 20 minutes, and that is not a good sign, because that means there's a lot of deviation, and you might over invest your budget in trying to automate things with too many exceptions and human touch points. It might be better to do stuff at the bottom right hand side here, and what this is saying is that if you do a cumulative group of all of these pieces of work, then that cumulatively also takes out a lot of effort, but is relatively simple with not much standard deviation, so you should be able to get through that fairly quickly, as it's pretty standardized and repeatable. The last one is this capacity across the human workforce, which is saying 878 unused days exist, which means there's a lot of extra excess capacity in the human workforce. You can click on this on the orange bar and go down right till the specific business team, till the process, till the specific area where there is additional capacity, and look to streamline that just to enhance the whole operation and streamline it to boost your overall goals as well. That brings us to an end of a high-level overview. Thank you.